There's a reason why it's called comfort food. It's warm, inviting, and always hits the spot, no matter the occasion or the weather outside. Comfort food is more than just a meal. It's an experience, a warm hug on a plate that brings a sense of nostalgia and joy. It evokes memories of home, family, and simpler times when life was less complicated and meals were shared with laughter and love. And few dishes embody this feeling quite like a cheesy cabbage casserole. A true classic in the realm of comfort food. This dish is a symphony of textures and tastes, combining the humble cabbage with a rich and creamy sauce, all blanketed under a golden layer of melted cheese that adds a perfect crunch. Imagine this, a cold evening, a cozy kitchen filled with the aroma of something delicious bubbling away in the oven, promising warmth and comfort. The anticipation builds as you eagerly await the moment you can finally dig into a hearty casserole that promises comfort in every bite, a true delight for the senses. That's the enchantment of this dish, a blend of flavors and emotions. It's not just about the food itself, it's about the feeling it evokes, the memories it brings back, and the warmth it spreads. It's about coming together with loved ones and sharing a meal that warms the soul as much as it satisfies the appetite, creating moments that last a lifetime. Cabbage often gets overlooked in the culinary world. It's time we give this humble vegetable the recognition it deserves. Cabbage is incredibly versatile and affordable, making it a pantry staple in many households. Whether shredded in a slaw, fermented into kimchi, or braised to tender perfection, cabbage delivers on both flavor and texture. In this casserole, cabbage takes center stage, its mild flavor providing the perfect canvas for the creamy, cheesy sauce. Don't let its humble appearance fool you. Cabbage is packed with nutrients, making this dish not only delicious but also surprisingly healthy. It's a good source of fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants, making it a guilt-free indulgence you can enjoy any day of the week. This cheesy cabbage casserole is more than just a dish. It's a celebration of simple, honest-to-goodness flavors. The creamy sauce, infused with the earthy notes of mushrooms and a hint of smoky paprika, perfectly complements the sweetness of the cabbage. And let's not forget the cheese. A generous helping of sharp cheddar adds a wonderful sharpness that cuts through the richness of the sauce, while a sprinkle of Parmesan on top lends a salty, nutty complexity. The best part? This recipe is incredibly easy to follow even for novice cooks. With just a handful of pantry staples and a little bit of love, you can have a comforting and delicious meal on the table in no time. So gather your ingredients, put on your apron, and let's get cooking. First things first, let's talk cabbage. For this recipe, you can use either green cabbage or Savoy cabbage. Both work well, but they have slightly different textures and flavors. Green cabbage is the more common variety. It has tightly packed leaves and a slightly peppery bite. Savoy cabbage, on the other hand, has crinkled dark green leaves and a milder, sweeter flavor. Whichever type you choose, make sure to choose a head of cabbage that feels heavy for its size. It should be firm to the touch, with no soft spots or wilted leaves. Once you've got your cabbage, give it a good rinse under cold water and pat it dry with a clean kitchen towel. Then, it's time to get chopping. Section 2. The cheese course, cheddar and Parmesan. Now let's move on to the good stuff. The cheese. This recipe calls for a combination of sharp cheddar and Parmesan cheese, which together create a symphony of cheesy goodness. Cheddar, with its sharp, tangy flavor, adds depth and complexity to the creamy sauce. Parmesan, on the other hand, brings a salty, nutty nuance that elevates the dish to another level. We recommend using freshly grated cheese for the best flavor and melt. Pre-shredded cheese is often coated with cellulose to prevent clumping, which can interfere with its melting properties. Section 3. The supporting cast onions, garlic, and spices. While cabbage and cheese may be the stars of the show, the supporting cast of ingredients plays an equally important role in creating a flavorful and aromatic casserole. Onions and garlic form the flavor base of the sauce, adding a savory depth that complements the sweetness of the cabbage. A touch of smoked paprika adds a subtle smoky note that elevates the dish, while salt and black pepper enhance the overall flavor profile. Don't be afraid to adjust the seasonings to your liking. If you prefer a spicier casserole, add a pinch of cayenne pepper or a dash of hot sauce. Section 4. Creamy Dream Team, Sour Cream and Soup. Finally, let's talk about the creamy element that brings this entire casserole together. Sour cream and cream of mushroom soup. Sour cream adds a delightful tanginess that cuts through the richness of the cheese, while the cream of mushroom soup provides a velvety, smooth texture and an earthy depth of flavor. You can use either canned or homemade cream of mushroom soup for this recipe. If you're short on time, canned soup works perfectly well. However, if you're feeling adventurous, try making your own cream of mushroom soup from scratch. It's easier than you think and adds a homemade touch that will impress your family and friends. Now that we've met our ingredients, let's get cooking. Today we're focusing on a technique that can elevate your vegetable dishes to the next level. Our first task is to give the cabbage a quick blanch. This step is crucial for achieving the perfect texture and flavor. Blanching will help to soften the cabbage and remove any bitterness, making it more palatable and delicious. Don't worry, it's a simple process. Even if you're new to cooking, you'll find this technique easy to master. Fill a large pot with water and bring it to a rolling boil over high heat. This is the first step to blanching. Add a generous pinch of salt. This not only seasons the cabbage but also helps to preserve its vibrant green color, making it look as good as it tastes. Now carefully add the chopped cabbage to the boiling water. Be cautious to avoid any splashes. It might seem like a lot, but don't worry, it will wilt down significantly, reducing in volume as it cooks. Give the cabbage a stir and let it cook for about 5 minutes, or until it's just tender. Stirring ensures even cooking. You don't want to overcook it at this stage. We want it to retain a bit of crunch. This texture is key for the final dish. Once the cabbage is ready, carefully drain it in a colander and set it aside to cool slightly. This will stop the cooking process and keep it just right. While the cabbage is busy taking a bath, let's turn our attention to the stovetop. Place a large skillet over medium heat and add the butter. As the butter melts and starts to sizzle invitingly, add the chopped onions. We're looking for those onions to soften and turn translucent, releasing their sweet aroma. Stir the onions occasionally, ensuring they cook evenly and don't burn. After about 3 minutes, add the minced garlic to the skillet. Garlic cooks quickly, so keep a close eye on it. Sauté the onions and garlic together for another minute or until fragrant. The aroma of these two ingredients cooking together is simply irresistible. Now it's time to transform those simple sautéed onions and garlic into a luxurious, creamy sauce. Reduce the heat to low. Add the sour cream to the skillet, stirring it gently to incorporate it into the melted butter and onion mixture. Next, add the cream of mushroom soup. Whether you're using canned or homemade, the soup will add a velvety texture and an earthy depth of flavor. Stir the soup into the sour cream mixture until it's smooth and well combined. Now, for the best part, the cheese. Section 4. Layering the casserole. A symphony of textures. With the creamy sauce simmering away on the stovetop, let's start assembling our casserole. Grease a 9x13-inch baking dish with butter or cooking spray. This will prevent the casserole from sticking and make cleanup a breeze. Now, take the blanched cabbage and spread it evenly across the bottom of the prepared baking dish. Make sure to distribute the cabbage evenly to ensure every bite of the casserole is packed with its sweet and earthy flavor. The cabbage will act as a bed for the creamy sauce, soaking up all its delicious flavors as it bakes. Section 5. The golden touch, breadcrumbs and cheese. No casserole is complete without a crispy golden brown topping. In a small bowl, combine the breadcrumbs or crushed Ritz crackers with the melted butter. Using your fingertips, mix the breadcrumbs and butter until they're evenly coated. This buttery mixture will transform into a crunchy, flavorful crust as the casserole bakes. Sprinkle the breadcrumb mixture evenly over the top of the casserole, ensuring it covers the entire surface. Now, for the finishing touch, sprinkle the remaining shredded cheddar cheese over the breadcrumbs. This extra layer of cheese will melt into a gooey, irresistible topping. Our casserole is now ready for the oven. Section 1. Baking time. Patience yields golden perfection. With our cheesy cabbage casserole assembled and ready to go, it's time to introduce it to the warm embrace of the oven. Carefully slide the baking dish into the preheated oven and set a timer for 25 minutes. Now comes the hardest part, waiting. The next 25 to 30 minutes will be filled with anticipation as the casserole bakes to golden perfection. Resist the urge to open the oven door too frequently. Every time you peek, you release precious heat, which can affect the cooking time and the casserole's ability to rise and set properly. Instead, trust your oven and the timer and let the wonder happen. Section 2. The bubble test. Signs of a perfectly baked casserole. As the casserole bakes, your kitchen will be filled with the most tantalizing aroma. That's a good sign. It means the cheese is melting, the sauce is bubbling, and the flavors are melding beautifully. After 25 minutes, it's time to check on our creation. Don't rely solely on the timer though. The best way to know if your casserole is done is to use the bubble test. Look for bubbles actively simmering around the edges of the baking dish. This indicates that the casserole has reached an internal temperature hot enough to ensure everything is cooked through. Section 3. Rest and serve, allowing the flavors to meld. Once your cheesy cabbage casserole has passed the bubble test and boasts a beautiful golden brown crust, it's time to remove it from the oven. But before you dig in, let's give it a moment to rest. This is an important step that allows the flavors to meld and the casserole to set properly. Carefully place the hot baking dish on a wire rack. This will prevent the bottom from becoming soggy and allow the casserole to cool slightly. Let it rest for at least 5 minutes, but 10 to 15 minutes is even better. This brief resting period will make a world of difference in the texture and overall enjoyment of your casserole. Section 4. A feast for the senses, serving and enjoying your masterpiece. After what felt like an eternity but was really just a few minutes, it's finally time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The anticipation has been building and now the moment has arrived. The cheesy cabbage casserole, now rested and ready, should be a symphony of textures and aromas. The steam rising from it carries the promise of a delicious meal. The top should be a beautiful golden brown, the cheese bubbly and slightly crisp at the edges. This is the hallmark of a perfectly baked casserole. You might even spot some tempting little pockets of melted cheese peeking through the breadcrumbs. These are the hidden gems that make each bite a delightful surprise. Carefully scoop generous portions of the casserole onto plates. Make sure each serving has a bit of everything: the tender cabbage, the creamy sauce, and the crispy topping. The cabbage will be tender but still retain a slight crunch, the sauce creamy and rich, and the topping a delightful contrast of crispy breadcrumbs and gooey melted cheese. Each layer adds its own unique texture and flavor. This casserole is delicious on its own, but feel free to pair it with your favorite sides. It's versatile enough to complement a variety of dishes. A simple green salad or some roasted vegetables would complement the richness of the casserole perfectly. These sides add a fresh and vibrant contrast to the hearty main dish. And there you have it, a comforting homemade cheesy cabbage casserole, ready to be devoured and enjoyed by you and your loved ones. Gather around the table, share stories, and savor every bite of this delicious creation. One of the most beautiful things about this cheesy cabbage casserole is its versatility. It's like a blank canvas ready to be painted with your own culinary creativity. Don't be afraid to experiment with different ingredients and flavor combinations to make this dish truly your own. Remember, the recipe is a guide, not a rulebook. Trust your instincts and have fun with it. Think of your favorite flavors and how you can incorporate them into this comforting dish. Do you prefer a spicier kick, a hint of smokiness, or perhaps a burst of freshness? The possibilities are endless, limited only by your imagination. For those who prefer a heartier casserole, adding meat is a fantastic way to elevate this dish to a complete meal. Ground beef is a classic choice, adding a savory depth and satisfying richness. Simply brown the ground beef in a skillet before adding it to the casserole. You can also use ground turkey or chicken for a lighter option. If you're feeling adventurous, try diced Italian sausage for a burst of flavor. The fennel and spices in the sausage pair beautifully with the sweetness of the cabbage and the creaminess of the sauce. Just remember to remove the sausage casings before browning the meat. For a truly indulgent treat, crumble some cooked bacon over the top of the casserole before serving. The smoky, salty crunch of the bacon adds a wonderful textural and flavor contrast. While the combination of cheddar and Parmesan is undeniably delicious, don't limit yourself to these two cheeses. The world of cheese is vast and full of exciting possibilities. For a sharper, tangier flavor, try using Gruyere or aged cheddar. These cheeses will add a more pronounced cheesy flavor that will cut through the richness of the sauce. If you prefer a milder flavor, Monterey Jack or Colby cheese are excellent choices. For a touch of smokiness, try smoked Gouda or smoked cheddar. These cheeses will add a subtle smoky nuance that complements the other flavors beautifully. You can even experiment with a combination of different cheeses for a more complex flavor profile. Section 4. Veggie Ventures Embracing Seasonal Bounty. Don't forget about the power of vegetables. While cabbage is the star of this casserole, adding other vegetables can enhance both the flavor and nutritional value of the dish. Mushrooms are a natural pairing with cabbage. Their earthy flavor complements the sweetness of the cabbage beautifully. Sauté some sliced mushrooms with the onions and garlic for an extra layer of flavor. Bell peppers, either green, red, or yellow, add a touch of sweetness and a vibrant color to the casserole. Dice them up and add them to the skillet along with the onions and garlic. For a nutritional boost, stir in some chopped broccoli florets or cauliflower florets with the cabbage. These cruciferous vegetables add a slightly nutty flavor and a satisfying crunch. Get creative and experiment with different vegetable combinations based on what's in season. A culinary hug, the comfort of cheesy cabbage casserole. And there you have it. A comforting homemade cheesy cabbage casserole, ready to be devoured and enjoyed by you and your loved ones. As you take that first bite, savor the symphony of textures and flavors. The tender yet slightly crisp cabbage, the rich and creamy sauce, the crunchy cheesy topping. This dish is more than just a combination of ingredients. It's a culinary hug, a warm and satisfying meal that evokes feelings of contentment and well-being. Remember that feeling we talked about earlier? That sense of comfort and satisfaction that only comfort food can bring? That's what this cheesy cabbage casserole is all about. It's a dish that nourishes both body and soul, a reminder of the simple pleasures in life. Sharing the bounty food, family, and friends. Food has a remarkable ability to bring people together. It's a universal language that transcends cultures and generations. This cheesy cabbage casserole, with its generous serving size and crowd-pleasing flavors, is perfect for sharing with family and friends. Imagine the smiles on their faces as they take their first bite, the compliments flowing as they savor each delicious mouthful. This dish is perfect for potlucks, picnics, or casual gatherings. It's easy to transport and even better the next day, making it ideal for meal prep or leftovers. Sharing a meal like this cheesy cabbage casserole is about more than just satisfying hunger. It's about creating memories, strengthening bonds, and celebrating the joy of togetherness. Beyond the recipe-embracing culinary exploration. This recipe for cheesy cabbage casserole is just the beginning of your culinary adventure. Don't be afraid to experiment with different ingredients, flavor combinations, and cooking techniques. Let your creativity run wild in the kitchen. Remember, the most important ingredient in any dish is love. When you cook with love, you infuse the food with a special kind of charm. It's that charm that transforms a simple dish into something truly extraordinary. So go forth, explore, and create, and most importantly, have fun in the kitchen. Until next time, the joy of cooking and sharing. The joy of cooking is not just about the end result, it's about the entire process, from selecting the freshest ingredients to savoring the aromas that fill your kitchen as you cook. It's about the creativity, the experimentation, and the satisfaction of creating something delicious from scratch. And when you share that creation with others, the joy multiplies tenfold. So keep exploring, keep creating, and keep sharing the joy of food with those you love. Until next time, happy cooking. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share.